You wake up tomorrow and somehow overnight, you're the most famous man alive. Every stranger knows your face. Every room goes quiet when you walk in. For a moment, that sounds like the ultimate prize. But the real answer is far stranger. Psychologists who study fame closely have found that this exact scenario, sudden and total recognition, tends to break something in people before it fixes anything. Why would being known by everyone make you feel unknown to yourself? Here's the reframe. Fame doesn't just change how people see you, it changes how you're able to see you. Psychologist Donna Rockwell spent years interviewing newly famous people and mapped out what she called the stages of fame. The first stage feels almost exactly like you'd expect, a rush, a high. People suddenly return your calls, doors open on their own. But Rockwell found this stage rarely lasts. It slides quickly into something else, a loss of the ordinary, anonymous life you used to move through without thinking. Grocery stores, quiet walks, being unremarkable in public. All of that disappears at once, and most people, Rockwell found, aren't prepared for how much they relied on it. Think about what your ancestors' brains evolved to track. Not millions of strangers, a tribe, maybe 150 people, an estimate popularized by anthropologist Robin Dunbar based on the size of human social groups throughout history. Your brain built its entire sense of identity around being known by a small, consistent circle who actually knew you back. Fame floods that same system with attention from people who know your image, but not you. Your ancestors never had to process being recognized by thousands of strangers who expect something from you before you've said a word. Here's where it gets stranger. Psychiatrist Drew Pinsky, working with researcher S. Mark Young, studied personality traits in famous individuals and found elevated rates of narcissistic traits compared to the general population. But the more interesting finding wasn't that famous people start out that way. It's that the environment of fame itself can produce it. Constant validation, constant attention, an audience that reacts to your presence rather than your actual self, can quietly reshape how a person relates to other people, not because fame reveals your true nature, because it rewards a version of you that isn't quite real over and over until that version starts to feel safer than the original. Here's the twist. The people who navigate fame best, according to Rockwell's later research, are the ones who reach what she called the third stage, acceptance. Not chasing the high of being seen, not mourning the anonymity they lost, learning to separate the public image from the private self, and protecting a small, real circle who still treat them like a person instead of an event. That's the part your imagination skips when you picture becoming famous. You picture the applause. You don't picture needing to relearn who you are without it. You already live a smaller version of this. Think about how you act differently the moment you know you're being watched, in a meeting, on a video call, in a photo. Now imagine that feeling never turning off, every hour, for the rest of your life. That's not admiration. That's a kind of exposure your ancestors never had to survive. So tonight, before you picture the version of you that everyone knows, ask a different question. Not who would you become if the whole world was watching, but who you already are in the one room where nobody is.